A 15-year-old boy is sitting in a palace in northern Italy. His father was just beheaded. A foreign soldier is walking toward him. And in about 10 minutes, this teenager is going to end the Roman Empire. Not with a battle, not with a speech. He's going to end it by signing a piece of paper. Here's the strange part: nobody in that room realized what they were witnessing. September 4th, 476 AD, no fireworks, no headline. The most famous empire in human history didn't die with a bang. It died with a shrug. So, who actually ended Rome? When did it really fall? And did it even fall at all? Or did it just change owners? You're going to get the answer in this video. Let's back up. By the 4th and 5th centuries, the Roman Empire wasn't one thing anymore. It was split in two. An eastern half ruled from Constantinople, and a western half ruled from Italy. Keep that split in your head, because it's going to matter a lot more than you think by the end of this video. The West was in trouble. Not under siege by savage hordes trouble. More like a company slowly going bankrupt. Tax revenue was collapsing. The army was shrinking. And here's the detail school usually skips. Rome had been hiring foreign soldiers, Germanic soldiers, to fight for it for generations, not as invaders, as employees. Which brings us to two men you've probably never heard of, Orestes and his son, Romulus. Orestes was a Roman general, ambitious, ruthless, and commanding the same kind of Germanic Federate army we just talked about. In 475 AD, he made his move. He drove Emperor Julius Nepos out of Italy. Then, instead of claiming the throne himself, he placed his own son on it. A boy probably between 12 and 16 years old. And history couldn't have picked a better name, Romulus. The legendary founder of Rome was called Romulus. More than 12 centuries later, the last Western Roman emperor would bear the same name. Rome's story began with a Romulus. It was about to end with one too. They even gave him a diminutive nickname, Romulus Augustulus, Little Augustus, a miniature version of the emperor's title for a kid who was never really in charge of anything. He didn't rule an empire. Wait, he barely controlled central Italy. That's it. Not Gaul, not Spain, not Britain. Those were already gone in every way that mattered. He was a placeholder, a face on a throne his father built for him. Now here's where the myth usually kicks in. You've probably heard some version of barbarian hordes swept in and destroyed Rome. That's not really what happened here. The soldiers who ended up ending the Western Empire weren't outsiders storming a gate. They were already inside the system. Orestes' own mercenary troops. Germanic soldiers who'd been fighting for Rome for years got fed up. They wanted land. It was standard practice by then to grant soldiers territory for their service, and Orestes refused them, so they mutinied. Leading them was a Germanic commander named Odoacer. He had spent years fighting for Rome, earning the respect of thousands of soldiers. He wasn't an emperor or a senator. He was a military leader who understood one simple truth. An army that isn't rewarded eventually stops obeying. This wasn't an invasion. It was closer to an internal collapse. The empire's own hired muscle deciding the deal wasn't worth it anymore. Odoacer's forces caught up with Orestes at a town called Piacenza. They captured him. They beheaded him. No trial, no ceremony. Just the end of a general who'd gambled everything on his teenage son. Then Odoacer marched on Ravenna, where young Romulus was waiting. Picture that for a second. A boy, maybe 15, who just watched his father's power evaporate in a single afternoon, now waiting for the soldier who killed him to decide his fate. And here's the twist nobody tells you. Odoacer didn't kill him. According to one ancient account, Odoacer was moved by the boy's youth, and, oddly enough, by how good-looking he was, and spared his life. He gave Romulus a pension, 6,000 solidi a year, genuinely a comfortable fortune. And he sent him off to live quietly with relatives in the Italian countryside near modern-day Naples. That's it. That's how the Western Roman Empire ends. Not a siege, not a massacre. A teenager gets a severance package and a house in the country. Now here's the part that should genuinely mess with your sense of history. Nobody at the time thought this was a huge deal. Odoacer didn't even call himself emperor. He took the title King of Italy and kept cooperating with the Roman Senate like nothing revolutionary had happened. There was no announcement that the Roman Empire was over. No one declared the Middle Ages had begun. The label Fall of Rome, 476. That's something historians glued onto this moment centuries later, looking backward and searching for a clean line to draw. The people living through it experienced something much messier. A slow unraveling stretched across decades, not a single dramatic ending. And this is where the story gets bigger than one teenager, because Rome hadn't been pure Roman running things for a long time. Germanic peoples weren't some external threat circling the walls. Many had been settling inside imperial territory for generations, fighting in Roman armies, marrying into Roman families. Some had even been invited in, given land in exchange for military service. So when the barbarians finally took over, in a lot of cases, they weren't conquering something foreign. They were stepping into a system they'd already been living inside for years. The empire didn't get smashed from the outside. It kind of dissolved from within, and new management took over the same building. That's a much less satisfying story than heroic Rome, evil barbarians, but it's a lot closer to true. Okay. But remember that split I told you to keep in your head? Western Rome and Eastern Rome? Here's the part almost nobody knows. The eastern half, ruled from Constantinople, didn't fall in 476. It didn't fall for nearly 1,000 more years. While Western Europe was reorganizing itself into small Germanic kingdoms, an empire that still called itself Rome kept right on running in the east. Same laws, same institutions, same claim to the name. So, did Rome actually fall in 476? Or did half of it just keep going under a different name we now call Byzantine, while historians conveniently ignored it to make their timeline tidier? I'm not going to answer that one for you yet. That's a story for later in this series, including exactly how and when that other Rome finally did come to an end. And when it does, it won't be an accident. Save your guess in the comments. I want to see how many of you already know. So back to that boy in the palace, watching a soldier walk toward him. He wasn't murdered. He wasn't a martyr. He lived out a quiet, comfortable, forgotten life in the countryside. The last emperor of Rome retired at 15 and mostly ignored by history for it. The Roman Empire didn't die screaming. It died with a pension and a change of address. Maybe that's the real lesson buried in 476. Empires don't usually end in a single catastrophic moment, even when we badly want a clean date to point to. They erode. They get renegotiated by the people already standing inside them. And sometimes, the person signing the ending doesn't even know it's an ending. The Roman Empire wasn't destroyed by outsiders. It was quietly handed over by people who'd been part of it all along. If you want to know what happened next, who built something out of the wreckage, and how one man nearly put the whole empire back together, that's next episode.